All right, beautifuls. Here we go into the master class of artificial intelligence. And so I have some questions for you guys that I would invite you, so it's always an invitation, but I would invite you to write into the chat, yes, if you believe you have manifested something or someone before, ever in your life. Have you ever felt like you have manifested something or someone? I'm seeing yes from Callie. I'm seeing yes from Michelle. Yes from Jan. So, and you're welcome to say no as well. Actually, I put yes, but you're welcome to say no. Kristen says fire, fire, fire. Yes. I'm taking that as a yes. Beautiful, guys. So it looks like many of us have experienced what we would perceive as manifestation before. Beautiful. And so now in the chat, what I'm wondering is if you have you ever had an experience of desiring to manifest something and then you got frustrated because for some reason or another, it's not showing up. Have you ever had that experience before? You've really been wanting to manifest something, you've been wanting to create something, you've been wanting for something to come into your reality, and then it's like not showing up. I'm seeing a yes, 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 yes. Usually fear arises and judgments. Michelle says yes. Right. So the feeling of like, I really desire this thing to happen in my life. I really desire for something to come into creation, come into fruition within my life. And then it's not showing up. And then the feeling of frustration arises. And so Callie says, the fear arises, right? Or the judgments. And so we're going to get into that in just a little bit, actually. And so now, my friends, I would love for you to comment yes or no in the chat if it would feel amazing for you if you were able to feel in your life like a master manifester. Let's see, yes or no, or maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay too. So I'm seeing a yes, yep, yes from Michelle, makes me want to dance. Yes, says Jan. Yes, Kristen, please, please, yes. Awesome, awesome, beautiful. Yeah, right? Wouldn't it be so amazing to all of a sudden go from a place of feeling frustration because we were not manifesting that in which we desired to going into a place where all of a sudden we became these master manifestors able to create basically on command. And so just for a moment, my friends, let us feel into the juiciness of that. Let us feel into what it would feel like in our bodies, not in your head, because your head can start to chat away and convince you that you're not actually ever going to be a master manifester, right? But in your body, in your intuition, how would it feel in your life to feel as like you are a master manifester? And then notice if anything comes up in your head, anything comes up in your mind, and then go back to the feeling. Beautiful. So my friends, welcome. Welcome to the heart of manifestation and alignment. And so you guys know me, many of you do. Some of you are just getting to know me, but my name is Carla Sampson. And I want to say that first and foremost, I would like to premise that feeling like a master manifester, feeling in any way, in any part of our lives like a master or coming into mastery, doesn't mean that we have lost touch with being the student. Mastery doesn't mean that we are no longer able to learn any longer. Mastery means that we have come to a particular place in our life where we feel competent, where we feel embodied, where we feel integrated, and we feel we are able to mentor or teach that back because we have embodied and integrated it for however long we need to really feel like it just comes naturally, right? And so there's always, within a space of mastery, there's always levels to go beyond that. We're never done learning. We're here in this great mystery school called life where we're never actually done learning. We are just creating and continuing to learn and mastering and embodying as we go. And so through my journey, and some of you guys do know my journey of moving through Lyme disease. I had 10 years of chronic Lyme disease that I healed myself completely full out from the inside out from. And through that journey, it was really through the journey of learning mindset and emotional intelligence and energy repatterning that helped me to begin to fully come into 111% of my healing. And so through this process of moving through pain and struggle and challenge, I began to awaken, and it began to awaken me to the feeling that I was not just a body, right? My pain actually was the great catalyst that allowed me to start to begin to realize that I was more than just this body, that this body was just a vehicle that held a lot of different spaces for emotions and for feelings and for pain and for happiness and for pleasure, but I wasn't just my body. And write in the chat if you have felt this before, that you're not just a body, right? And because I attract women who feel in one way or another very embodied in their spirituality, embodied in a bigger sense of being connected to life, I have a feeling that you guys feel that too. Kristen has a question. Can you write it in the chat there, Kristen? So, and though the healing, that was an oops, no worries. So, and though the healing process, and through the healing process, I began to learn fully about how deeply connected I am to life and how I am actually co-creating my reality in all moments. And so that's big, right? When we actually realize in our lives that we are the co-creators, actually co-creating and co-designing our reality, that there comes great power. And with great power comes great responsibility. So I began to take on that responsibility within my life as I continued to realize that through different parts of me, I was co-creating that in which I was interacting with my reality. And so based on my thoughts, beliefs, emotions, actions, response, and beingness, I was co-creating my reality. And so this brings me into manifestation, right? This beautiful idea of manifestation. But what is really manifestation? What is manifestation really? According to vocabulary.com, manifestation is a public display of emotion or feeling or something theoretical made real. And it also says, vocabulary.com also says, if something spiritual becomes real, it is said to be a manifestation. Now, according to Webster, they say it's a perceptible outward or visible expression, a public demonstration of power and purpose. Also, according to dictionary.com, it's a materialization of something spiritual. And so something that I would like to offer you guys later is my definition of manifestation, but it's coming. And so now before we go onwards, let's debug a little bit, because there are so many myths about manifestation, right? We can get really caught up in this idea of the externalized manifestation. How many of you guys have actually watched that movie, The Secret? You can write yes, or you can raise your hand. That's that movie, The Secret. Yes. That movie really, I watched it, I think, when I was about 15 years old. And it turned me on in such a big way to these particular ideas. But it also, I feel like that movie, although it had the greatest of intentions, through the rippling of people bringing themselves into manifestation, there also came a lot of myths that we are here now to debug. And so the myths of manifestation, one, and I'm sure there are more, these are just the ones that I came up with. Number one is manifestation is something that you desire, and it shows up in the physical, basically out of thin air. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's like when people think about manifestation, they're like, yeah, I think it, and then it creates itself, right? That's one myth. Now, number 2, you just think it and it becomes yours. So it's kind of the similar as the other. It's like, yes, when you think it, it's basically like it's destined to come to you, right? Manifestation, a lot of people feel like it's this mystical thing where you just suddenly say something, you want something, and all of a sudden it appears, right? It's like this genie in a bottle idea of manifestation. Now, number 3 is of a manifestation myth is only some people are good at manifesting, and others, perhaps like me, or perhaps like you, who knows, just stink at it, right? So there's a myth that some people are really good at manifestation and others are really not good at manifestation. And if you guys relate to any of what I'm saying, you're very welcome to type that into the chat. And then another one is some people are born better manifestors than others. Oh yeah, she's just lucky. She's just a good manifester. I'm just not, right? And now the 5th myth of manifestation is if I do everything right in my life, if I meditate and I pray and I show compassion towards others and I go to ecstatic dances and I chat and I chant 108 times to Lakshmi and I burn incense, I should be rewarded by the universe for my actions, right? Like that's manifestation, right? If I'm really, 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 really good, the universe is going to compensate me, right? Like that's how manifestation works. And so let's talk about the reality behind manifestation. Everyone, every moment is manifesting. We manifest literally all the time, no matter what, whether we know we're manifesting or not. We can be aware of it or not. It doesn't matter. We are manifesting no matter what. And so everyone has the same equal power and ability to manifest. There's not somebody on the planet who's better at manifesting in terms of they came out of their mother's womb and was a better manifester than the other child that came out of their mother's womb. We all have the equal opportunity to step into manifestation. We all have the same energy that ultimately creates these manifestations, which I'm going to get into in just a little bit. And so manifestation is a form of communication, and we're going to talk about that and go deep. All right, so now, here's what you might be saying, because I've heard this before, is if everyone is manifesting in every moment, why are so many people not actually seeing their desires be called into fruition, right? Like, if I'm manifesting in every moment, why are my desires not actually being crafted and created into fruition? What is up with that? And so I'm going to answer that, but I'm not going to answer that quite yet. First, we're going to talk about energy. So beautiful ones, energy is everything. Energy is everything. Your body is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. This physical world is energy. The unseen world is energy. Everything is everything, and everything is energy. And energy is energy is energy. Everything is energy. And so, what are you? Energy. I saw Callie say, yes. Yes, we are energy, right? Our beingness, our thoughts are energy, our feelings are energy. Everything that we are composed of, including our bodies, including life around us, including literally the space within us, is energy. And in artificial intelligence, we actually dive deeper into the quantum physics behind this. But with the time that we have here, let's talk about energy. So the energy that is you and the energy that forms all things in this beautiful magical universe that we are a part of, seen and unseen, is the same energy. And you are not separate from that energy. You're not separate from the energy that creates the entirety of the universe and beyond. In fact, I would invite you in this moment to look around your room right now. Just look into the space of your room. Like, not at the actual objects in the room, but just look at the space in the room around you. Now, if you can imagine that there are actually within that space, there are these tiny, tiny subatomic particles that are made of what? Energy. Right? So everything in the space, even the space between an electron and a neutron, everything in space actually has these subatomic particles of energy. And I kind of, in artificial intelligence, I'll go into some deeper studies and research about actually what that energy is. But for now, this energy at its smallest, most subatomic unit is actually conscious. And so I am not the one who found out about that. The man who found out about that was Max Planck himself, the founder and creator of quantum physics. Found out and claimed that these tiniest particles of subatomic particles that actually create all of the space in life and in the universe and in countless universes beyond are made of these conscious subatomic particles. They actually have intelligence. And we're going to talk about how we interface with these subatomic particles. Oops, there we go. And you, my friend, are in constant communication with this universal intelligence that lives within you, around you, and in all things. You are constantly interfacing with this life force intelligence. And so when we say to ourselves, I wish I could manifest, right? Or I wish I was a better manifester. Well, the first thing to remind ourselves of is that we are always, there's never not a moment that we are in constant, full communication, interfacing with these subatomic particles of energy or light called photon or quanta. And so we are constantly in this communication with the universe, and yet we've never been taught about our communication with the universe. And so of course we're not master manifestors yet. We have not even realized that we are so interconnected. Maybe we have a feeling, but we haven't been necessarily taught that we are so interconnected with the entirety of the universe, and the universe is consistently responding to everything that we are in relationship with. And so this universal intelligence, this energetic conscious life force, it responds to you. And how does it respond to you? It responds to you through your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your feelings, your actions, and your responses. And I'm sure that probably at least 99% of you have heard that before. Write yes in the chat if you have an idea that your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, your feelings, your actions, and your responses have some kind of influence on your day-to-day life. We talked about this last time, right? We talked about this last week. So Michelle says, absolutely, yes, yes, yes. Yes, so we all know this. Deep down, we all know that our thoughts, our beliefs, our emotions, our feelings, our actions, and our responses are truly what is interfacing with this great web of energy that we are not separate from. And so let us remember last week, and even if you weren't at last week, no worries, that we'll touch on it just a little bit. But what we said from last week was that very often we think the same thoughts, we perform the same actions, that create the same experiences, that produce the same emotions and produce the same feelings, right? But secretly, we expect something to change, or we expect something to be different, right? So if we are consistently thinking the same thoughts, if we're consistently performing the same actions, if we're consistently creating the same experiences and being in the same environment that are producing the same emotions and feelings, and then we're like, why isn't that thing that I really want that's on my next level, why isn't that manifesting in my life? So now last week, remember, we also touched on that our brain is 5% conscious and 95% unconscious, which delivers us out over and over and over again into the same patterns and habits every single day. 95% of our lives run on autopilot. How many of us, we wake up in the morning, maybe the first thing that we do in the morning is we check our phone and remind ourselves who we are. Maybe the first thing we do in the morning is take off the covers in this very same way. We put our feet on the ground in the very same way. We brush our teeth in the very same way. We do all of the things in the very same way. And then we want to manifest different results. And so Michelle says, this is seriously reminding me of the book Think and Grow Rich. Totally. I read that book like probably 11 years ago or something, but it was really life-changing for me. Yes. And so 95% of our lives is ran on autopilot. And then we're over here like, oh, I wish I had a different life. I wish I could manifest something extraordinary, right? Like that white Tesla X model with the gold or with the rose gold rims, right? But then we're waking up every single day and creating the same patterns and creating the same things every single day. That makes it that our energy stays consistent every single day, and then we desire to manifest something outside of the energetic status or the frequency or the vibe, which we'll get into in a little bit, is at. So, my friends, here's the kicker. We are consistently manifesting in every moment of every day. We manifest literally all of the time, no matter if we're aware of it or not. Because manifestation is not necessarily just a mystical, I think it and then I create it pattern. And it's not necessarily I feel it and I create it pattern. So here's my definition of manifestation. Dun, 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 dun. Manifestation is communication through your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And the totality of your thoughts, feelings, and actions create an energy, and this energy creates a state of beingness. And this state of being communicates to the energetic intelligence of the universe that we are so utterly connected to. And that creates a process of bringing energy into form that is most conducive to matching the state of energy you operate in. And then therefore, through the conduit of your human vessel taking action, a manifestation is formed. I know that's a lot of words, but what it basically means is that you are an energy field. Just your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your beliefs, your emotions all create an energy field. And then the universe is consistently interfacing with that energetic vibe or that energetic field, and is then matching that energetic field to give you the results that would ultimately match the same energy or vibration. And that, my friends, is how we manifest. You are a walking, living state of being. You are a walking, living, vibratory state, a vibrational rate, a energetic vibrational rate. And you are consistently being matched with situations, events, objects, circumstances, and on and on and on and on, that basically match that same frequency and that same vibratory state that you are vibrating at. But if we are running solely on autopilot in a state of being, that is not conducive to what we desire. So now let me talk about that state of being, because when we think about that idea of a state of being, we often think about like the very yogic tradition of meditation and like being in a state of being, right? But ultimately your state of being doesn't necessarily have to do with you being thoughtless. It doesn't have to do with you being feelingless. It doesn't have to do with you being actionless. A state of being is literally a vibrational state that is created from the collective of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your beliefs, and the entirety of yourself as a whole within or a part within a whole. And so you are always in a state of being. Whether your mind is racing or is totally still, you are always in a state of being. And so this means that everything you manifest into existence will predictably continue to look, feel, and and feel the same as it always has been before, because you are running on 95% autopilot. It's predictable that you would manifest in the very same way that you have always manifested. And so, but even if we switch into our 5% conscious mind to create a vision of our ideal life or whatever it is you are wanting to manifest, so many people miss this incredibly important ingredient. And what is that incredibly important ingredient for manifestation? Alignment. Now, how many of you guys, and you can write yes in the comments. Alyssa's on. Hi, beautiful. You guys are very welcome to write yes in the comments if you have heard of this word alignment before. You can chat yes into the comments. Have you heard of alignment before? All right, beautiful. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Now, the interesting thing about alignment is that we can know about alignment. We can have heard about alignment. We can even teach. This is the thing, is we could even teach about alignment, and we cannot be in alignment. Alignment is a state of embodiment. Alignment is it's sort of like you like can't fake it. Like you can't fake it. Alignment is something you can't fake because the universe is always responding to who you are consistently. And we can't run from the universe, right? Because we are connected to the energy, to the conscious energetic particles, these subatomic particles that make up all of life. And so we can't run from the universe. We are very much visible and exposed and vulnerable when it comes to the universe. And so if we desire something, what does this mean? What does alignment actually mean? Alignment means, it's basically a word that's become a buzzword most recently in the past couple of years. But when we dig into alignment, alignment is the ability to become the results you desire. Alignment is the ability to become the results you desire. And so what does that mean? A state of being, right? A becoming of. So I want you to just imagine one thing in your life that you desire. And you're welcome to take your journal and write it down in your journal if you would like to, or you can actually write it into the chat if you feel like you would like to share. I'd love to see some shares as well around what is it that you actually, just one thing that you desire. And it could be really like, anything. Kristen says, buy a house. Totally. Financial freedom. Yes, Michelle. All right, beautiful. So that one thing that you truly desire in your life. Now, what does it, alignment means becoming the result. Callie says to open a women's circle here where I live. Oh, so beautiful. Love it. So the ability of becoming the results. So what I would like to invite you to do now that you have that one desire, is to imagine how it would be. What would be the feeling of what it would feel like to actually have that desire come into fruition? I want you to write that down, like literally feel it. Like the moment that you signed that lease, or not lease agreement, but the moment that you signed the papers to actually buy your home. The moment that you realized that you had enough saved in the bank that you felt like you could go anywhere, do anything, because you knew that your bank account would always replenish. The moment that you are sitting in that circle with so many beautiful women and supporting them through their journey, right? So how would it feel? Like really, 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 really feel that. So Kristen says it would feel like security, but go beyond that, Kristen. Go beyond that. So that moment beyond security, like how would, like, what is the feeling of, like, would you feel excited? Would you feel celebratory? Would you feel like, hell yes? Or would you feel super stoked? Or would you feel like, you know, what is the feel like? Because the feeling of security is, it's not giving me enough feeling to interface with. Because a feel, like, what is the feeling of security? Yes, relief, totally, beautiful. And so Alyssa says freedom, success, flow state, dreams coming true, yes. And so Alyssa says, yes, relief, right? Like, oh, this big feeling of like your nervous system just gets to relax and you're just like in this state of like, probably gratitude, right? Like grateful that all of a sudden you don't have to worry about security anymore. And so Alyssa says rest, like you need to, like you can just kind of take a load off, right? Callie says, I would feel in service. There is there for peace and flowing, right? So what does it feel like to be in service though, right? Would it feel like, yeah, really peaceful within yourself, or like, yeah, that feeling of flow? Purposeful, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So so when you are coming up with the feeling of what it would feel like to actually create the desire to bring that result into fruition, go deeper and go deeper and go deeper and go deeper. Be so epically detailed about the feeling. And you know, I'm telling you guys this because this is the process. If you can become that feeling. And so what does that mean, you guys, is that if you wanted to feel relief in your life, you move, the universe follows. It's not the other way around. What does this mean? This means that if you want relief in your life, the universe will not give you relief until you feel relief. If you want rest in your life, the universe will not provide you rest until you actually have rest in your life. And so what does that mean? It means that you must feel it before the universe provides the actual thing in form. So if you wanted to create a household for yourself, if you wanted to buy a house, and you knew that the feeling of buying a house would bring a feeling of relief, what does it look like to be in a state of being every single moment of that feeling of relief? When you are feeling that state of being every single moment, when you are becoming that in every single moment, then the universe, which is interfacing with you consistently, will send you more feelings, more opportunities to feel more relief. And so that's why we can begin to, instead of trying to figure out the how we're going to buy a house, or the how we're going to create a women's circle, or the how we're going to, what were others, have financial freedom. Instead of trying to figure out the how, try to become the feeling. We don't need to know the how. The how is not for us to decide. What we can do is we can have a beautiful relationship with it and say that, and have no doubt that that would show up in our lives. Whatever it is that you desire, there's no doubt that it will absolutely show up in my life, no problem. But it's less about trying to figure out the how, and it is more about becoming the woman who already has the thing before she has any evidence that the thing is going to show up. And so Callie says, because you're coming from a lack, you can't create, right? Well, yes, sort of, but it's more like it's sort of like we are, it's sort of like it doesn't even necessarily have to do with abundance or lack. It has more to do with movement and action in our lives. And the one movement and action that we can take in our lives, like, yeah, we can like go and look at houses and we can browse houses, but ultimately we can only go look at houses and browse houses if we want to get into the feeling of what it would be like to like invite ourselves into the imagery of perhaps being in that house. Or maybe, you know, your action could be like to take small actions towards asking women if they would be excited about getting into a circle with you, but it has more to do with the one action that you can take, the one thing that you are incredibly responsible for in your life in all moments is how you feel. We cannot predict the circumstances of our lives. We cannot control the outcome of our lives. The one thing that we have absolute responsibility over is how we interact with life based on our feelings. This is what we call emotional intelligence. And so Alyssa says, relationship union with someone else on a high vibrational level, have the retreat center, inner ascension. Yes, it will, no doubt. Yes, programming patterns, what we expect, we have to start expecting something else. Woo! Powerful. Yes, 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 yes. So I'm just going to restate that one more time, is that alignment is the ability to become the results you desire. It has actually much less to do with what you do. It has everything to do with who you are being. And how do we actually interface and influence who we are being? We have the ability to feel. And so if we can actually create, I call it a future memory, creating a future memory of like what it would feel like to have that thing come into fruition. And you know how when a memory comes up in your life, like an actual memory from the past, and how you can actually feel the emotions just as if you are experiencing it in that present moment, but it happened so far away in the past. It's the same. We can do the exact same thing for future memories, is we can create such an intense emotional reaction to something that hasn't even happened yet, but the universe basically is always interfacing with us through our feelings. And so if we can create such an emotionally driven memory to something that hasn't happened yet, the universe is going to start to pattern that into our lives. And our mind will start to look for it. And our mind will start to look for evidence that that thing exists. And this, my friends, becoming the result is what we call alignment. And we become the result every single day until the result all of a sudden has become us, and we look around and we're not separate from it anymore. It felt like a dream that we were ever separate from it. And that's why you hear some people say everything is right here, right now, because it truly is. All energy exists right here, right now. We just happen to be on a journey of aligning with the energy that we truly desire. It's a state of being. So a state of being that is not separate from that in which you desire. All right, onwards we go. This state of being in full alignment with what you desire, it's called your vibe, your vibration. Everyone's probably familiar with the word vibe, right? Like, oh yeah, she had a good vibe, or oh yeah, that party was such a good vibe last night, or oh yeah, this is, it was such a negative vibes all over the place, right? We've heard this word vibe before. And of course we know that this word vibe comes from the word vibration, right? And so this idea of this state of being is your vibe. So let me break it down this way. Is that you have many thoughts, you have lots of different styles of emotions, you take action based on your thoughts and your emotions, and basically the collaboration of all of those things over time. So let's call it like a compound set of emotions. So if you're consistently angry all of the time, you're going to be creating what's called a mood. And then if you're in a bad mood for a long period of time, you eventually create a state of being. Right? And the state of being is what we call your vibe. And so we know when some people have really good vibes and some people have really not so happy vibes, right? And so let's tune into that just for a second of like, how would people feel around you? What is your vibe? Because ultimately the universe, this universal intelligence is tuning in to our vibe. this universal intelligence that we are so utterly connected to is consistently interfacing and communicating with us, and we are consistently interfacing and communicating with it through our vibe, which is the over-encompassment, the umbrella of our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our emotions, our actions. This is our vibe. And we attract our vibe, right? How many of you guys have heard that word that phrase, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? We've all heard it. And it's true, right? Because we're all coming here together with a certain vibratory state. We sort of all resonate together. We're harmonizing together and we get each other, right? And so if you desire to become a master manifester in your life, your number one highest priority is to protect your vibe. I'm not just talking about some of the time. I'm talking about if you want to be a master manifester, it is the invitation is that the highest priority is to consistently protect your vibe. We are energetic beings. We feel energy, right? It's easy to feel how people are feeling. Protect your vibe. And so what throws you off of your vibe? I'm just curious. Out of like when you're flowing and you're vibing and you're feeling good, what are the things that kick you off center, that push you out of alignment, and that throw you out of your vibe? What are your triggers? Number one for many is relationships, right? There's such a mirror. It's so intense sometimes, but it's a beautiful mirror, right? It like shows us right away where we still need to do the work. Another one is work, right? Like employees, like co-employees or people that we work with. Another one is rushing, like feeling like there's not enough time and having to like go to the next thing really fast. We have being judged. Like when somebody judges us, it's like all of a sudden we're like, but, ooh, and we all of a sudden we can't protect our vibe anymore because we feel judged, right? Being told we're wrong. These are just examples. Eating unhealthy food can push us out of our vibe. You know how you can like eat a super greasy something of food and all of a sudden you're like not feeling so hot. Drinking, smoking substances take us right out of our vibe, and violent movies or TV shows can take us out of our vibe. Fox News takes us out of our vibe. Could not include that one. I'm sorry, guys. All right, not sorry. Okay, so routine. And as a mother, it's so hard. Yes, right, children, right, are probably consistently just inviting us to protect our vibe, right? It's always an invitation. Like these triggers are always an invitation to see and to show us where we still have a little bit of work to do to keep our vibe high. How do we consistently move throughout our day, every single moment of the day, in a space where we're not being triggered and thrown off our vibe? And so Alyssa says, someone screaming or complaining about something, totally. Yeah, big raw emotions. That's not worth doing that over, giving our power away, people pleasing, that's a huge one, totally. Yes, absolutely. Disrespect, says Kristen, yes, right? So there's so many ways that we get kind of thrown off center, get thrown off of our vibe. And I'm going to tell you one more time as an invitation is that if you do desire to be a master manifester, your number one priority in life is to protect your vibe. And so what does it look like when we're in a relationship and we want to protect our vibe? What does it look like when we have children and we want to protect our vibe? What does it look like when we're on the bus or in a busy grocery store and we want to protect our vibe? These places are our training grounds. They're our master training grounds, right? Being around the biggest triggers in our lives are our greatest training grounds. These are our greatest teachers, our greatest masters. And so Alyssa says, okay, so Callie, when it says people pleasing, it's like how would I explain this? So it's like basically doing something for someone, and that doesn't totally honor your highest good or something. Like it's like basically putting yourself second to put someone first. And so Alyssa says, yes, that is what I desire, to be consent alignment in high vibe, saying no. Woo, yeah. And listening to our bodies, our energy, our intuition. Yes. So the thing about getting triggered is that you probably notice that when you move into environments or engage in activities that sabotage your vibe, the next day you may judge yourself, feel shameful, feel shame towards yourself, feel guilty. How many people have experienced this before? Like you do something in your life, something happens, maybe you blow up at your partner by accident. It just like comes out of you. And then you feel really guilty or a lot of shame, right? Or a lot of self-judgment. Maybe you ate like a whole thing of greasy McDonald's food, and you're like all of a sudden go straight into judging yourself or feeling angry towards yourself, or just so many things that we can do that break our vibe. And then the first thing that we do is we shame ourselves, feel guilty towards ourselves, or judge ourselves. How many of you guys have felt this before? Michelle says, yup. Right? It's like you can go out for a night of drinking with your friends, and then the next morning you wake up and you're off of your vibe and you're like, oh, I'm so angry with myself. Why did I ever do that? Right? Things like that, just really simple things. And then we immediately go into feeling guilty. And so when we do that, when we immediately go into that feeling of guilt, that feeling of shame, or that feeling of judgment towards ourselves for breaking our vibe and not protecting our vibe, it pulls us further out of alignment. Judgment, blame, guilt, it will always pull us further out of alignment. So if we do end up breaking our vibe, instead of going straight into judgment, blame, or guilt, what is it that you are needing within yourself to come back into that alignment? And this is what we call emotional intelligence. And we go so deep into this in artificial intelligence. Is this emotional intelligence allows for us to really start to shorten the refractory period between doing something and feeling guilty or angry or shameful or any big emotion towards it. It starts to shorten the gap between that so that we can immediately begin to repair and come back into our high vibe. Emotional intelligence is the glue that brings us back into the high vibe, high vibrational space, which we dig into in Artificial. And you keep manifesting more and more and more of that. So when we feel guilty, when we feel shame, when we feel blame, we just keep manifesting more things to feel guilty about, more things to feel angry about, more things to feel upset about. And so this can become a pattern. It can become a pattern in our life, which becomes then the 95% and becomes an autopilot, habitual experience. So now, my friends, what I will invite us to do for a brief moment is to create a sacred agreement with ourselves. Because we have all felt guilty before for breaking our vibe. We've all felt upset with ourselves. We've all felt judgmental towards ourselves. And we're going to create a little bit of a beautiful sacred agreement in this moment. And so if you're not already, I will invite you to find yourself in a comfortable seated position. And then when you are ready, I will invite you to close your eyes and to take that left hand of yours and place it on the heart center, palm facing into the center of the chest. And then to take that right hand of yours and to place it over the womb space or onto the belly, wherever intuitively feels really good for you, whether it be the low belly where the womb space is, or the upper belly more towards the solar plexus. And let's take just 3 full deep breaths in and out. So first and foremost, my friends, exhale and let all of the air out of the lungs to prepare. And then when you are ready, find your fullest, deepest breath in. Breathe all the way up. Breathe into the belly. Breathe all the way as far up to the very top of the lungs as you possibly can, and then hold it up at the top. With a soft sigh, exhale out through the mouth. Let it go. And 2 more just like that. The fullest, deepest, longest breath in. Exhale when you are ready. And 1 more time, nice and slow, deepest breath in. And so beautiful ones, with your eyes remaining closed and staying in this place of contemplative inner awareness, I will invite you to repeat after me. You can either say it within your own mind or you can speak it out loud, whichever you prefer. So I, and then state your name, Carla Sampson, fully take responsibility in this present moment, here, now, for my thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions. I forgive myself fully for any moments I judged myself or felt guilty towards my thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions. And instead, I replace it with compassion and love. I nourish myself in this moment by making this sacred agreement to stay fully present with what is alive within me. I call to my highest self now. To guide me with grace and ease into my next step. To surround myself with high vibrational people, spaces, and experiences that will serve in my highest evolution. I am a conscious creator, co-creating with the universe in every moment. And with this great power comes great responsibility. And so it is. And taking 1 more full deep breath in, breathing fully to the very top of the lungs. And very gently coming back into this space. So in artificial intelligence, our #1 intention and priority is to have the most beautifully polished, pristine, vibratory state of being. We protect our vibe. It's a first and foremost in artificial intelligence. Our vibe is the most important piece of whether it is that you're creating a beautiful relationship or whether it is you're creating a beautiful business, whether it is you're just creating a beautiful life overall in general. Having a beautiful vibe is really what allows us to thrive and to live on purpose on this planet. And we do, because in particular, if we are consistently in a high vibrational state and then something very, very small can throw us out of that vibe, the universe is going to continue to get confused because the universe is consistently wanting to interface with us and wanting to send us whatever it is that matches our vibrational state of being. But if we're in a very high state of vibrational being and then all of a sudden we get triggered and get pulled out of it, we call it a leaky container. It's not being able to fully find your boundaries in creating such a beautiful experience of a high vibrational state over a consistent amount of time. And that's my number one. If there was, although we stay very in the deep feminine goals within artificial intelligence, if there was a particular goal for artificial intelligence, it would be to deliver us into a consistent high vibrational state of being consistently over time. And so we do this through practical techniques and tools that repattern our mindset, shift into emotional intelligence, and manifest a deeply heart-centered connection to life. And now the byproduct of an unshakable vibe through artificial intelligence, there are just so many byproducts, but to name a few: accelerated manifestation, mastering manifestation, consistent alignment with our desires, next level communication, increased confidence, harmonious relationships, moving on purpose, decrease in having bad days, and an increase in having great days, showing up consistently, and trusting the universe and trusting our intuition. And so I always like to say that these are byproducts, right? So yeah, of course, these can be goals in our lives, but ultimately they just see it, they simply manifest, right? From us creating a state of beingness that is in alignment with our highest truth and our highest good. So the number one way to keep the vibe high and in alignment with your highest truth: surround yourself with powerful beings on a similar path. Even if you don't have women in your life who are consistently there in the physical to be able to show up for you and really hold you in a beautiful space, and that they're manifesting and wanting and desiring the same things as you, that's okay. Because now we have this beautiful thing called technology. And that is ultimately where the words artificial intelligence came from. I explained this a little bit in the first round, but I was actually brushing my teeth and I was feeling into how potent these online containers can be, and that how at this particular time we have an amazing ability to connect and feel heart to heart with so many beings over these online platforms. And so artificial intelligence, of course, rhymes with artificial intelligence. So it's really this play on creating a beautiful, sacred, heart-centered container and simultaneously doing this in the online space. And so for those of you who have already said yes and are joining me in artificial intelligence, this is our great opportunity, because we get to celebrate one another together. We get to support one another, and we get to rise together. When I rise, you rise, and when you rise, I rise. And this is truly the birthing and the rising of the feminine on our planet at this particular time. This is that we get to do it together, and that we don't need to do it alone. And that by us showing up consistently for our high vibes and having a space where others are celebrating us in that space can be such a beautiful, transformative experience. And so, beautiful ones, I would like to invite you, if you have not yet said yes to artificial intelligence, to join us for the February 3rd round. This will be the 4th round of artificial intelligence. I am going to go ahead and for a moment pause this share. We're going to call come on together. Beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty. All right, beautiful ones. So I want to give it just, I don't want to go too much past 8, and we're already 4 minutes after. But I would like to just bring us into a moment of going inwards just before we head out, because that feels really special and sweet for me. And so what I will invite us to do is to close our eyes and to come into our inner space one last time. And so in this present moment here now, as we close our eyes and send this energy, send this signal into the internal world. Last week, we began by processing and moving through to find what we call our next level feminine genius, or our avatara. The experience of ourselves in this next level state of being. And so in this present moment here now, my friends, I would love to invite you to breathe into calling her into your space. Call in this next level feminine genius. Call in your avatara. And as you call her in, as you invite her into this space, I will invite you to notice her. She is you, perhaps 5 years from now, perhaps 20 years from now, perhaps 1 year from now. Notice, who is she? This next level version of you. And then I will invite you to notice, what does she have in her life? Does she have what it is that you desire right now? This next level feminine genius, what does she have? And let her tell you what she has. Maybe she has that home. Maybe she has that retreat center. Maybe she has that beautiful collective of women sitting in circle together. Let her share with you what it is that she has. And then also let her share with you what the feelings are that she feels right now for having that. How good does that feel? How does she celebrate that? And now what I would invite you to do is to feel into who you are right here, right now, in this present embodiment. And to feel into that next level feminine genius, that avatara who is you, who has that in which you desire, who celebrates that in which you desire. And then I ask you one question here now. What is it that you need to do? And who is it that you need to be to tighten up the gap between who you are now and who you are as your next level feminine genius? Who do you need to be? And is there anything that you need to do to become that? And now take those messages with you And staying in this state of sweetness within yourself, what I will invite you to do is very slowly begin to open the eyes and just write that down so you do not lose it. Write it down in your journal or write it down in your phone if you need to write it down in somewhere. And just take a moment to write, what is it that you need to do to become the woman that is your next level feminine genius? And just take about 1 more minute. And then if you would like to, share it into the chat so that we can support you in that. You're very welcome to do that. Callie, yes, to be available. I love that. Becoming available. So while you guys are finishing up your writing, this has been the tool that has consistently helped me to move from being the woman who is in deep pain, being the woman who was triggered by everything, being the woman who had no emotional intelligence whatsoever, to being the woman that I am today. It has just been about dreaming her into existence, dreaming my next level feminine genius into existence, being able to perceive who she is, know what she has, and then know what it feels like to have that, and then to become the feeling before the feeling has even arrived. Because when we move, the universe moves. It's not the other way around. We act and the universe shows up to fill in the gap of our actions. And so Alyssa says, show up, believe, change mindset, expect different results. Beautiful. That was beautiful. Beautifully put. Awesome. Awesome. All right, beautiful ones. So I do invite you to take this with you, to take this particular piece with you, to continue to recreate your feminine genius. Because here's the thing, is that all of a sudden one day you're going to look around and you're going to be her. And in that moment, that's alignment. That's full, utter alignment. And then what do you get to do in that moment? You get to celebrate the shit out of yourself. Because it's all about celebration. We got to take the time to celebrate. And then after you have celebrated, because celebration, and you guys will learn about this in artificial intelligence, but celebration really is, it's like the anchoring energy. It really does share with the universe that it's like, yes, and more, please. And it's like the foundation of my business and of my life is celebration. I'm going to get off this call tonight and I'm going to celebrate. And so what I'm going to invite you guys to do is do the very same thing. Now, anchor this energy in. We have been in 2 weeks of a beautiful vibe together. I think almost all of us, except for a couple on here, are going to be going through another 8 weeks together starting on Monday, which we're just going to get to continue to anchor this beautiful vibe. But before we get in on the Monday, um, celebrate tonight. So the one quick piece that I want to talk to you guys about with celebration is that it's less about what you do and it's more about who you are while you're doing the thing. And so if you choose to drink a glass of wine, it doesn't matter that you're drinking a glass of wine. It's how are you drinking that glass of wine? What is the feeling that you're anchoring into yourself? If you choose to take a bath, it doesn't really matter that you're taking a bath. How are you taking that bath? What is the feeling that you're anchoring into as you take that bath? And so it doesn't matter what you choose to do to celebrate this moment. You can even just take 3 full deep breaths and that can be your celebration. But it's about the feeling of how you are anchoring that energy within yourself.